Oh, all right, here we go. Grizz Nation, we are back. This is the Fight on Montana podcast. Adam Healy here, your Grizz fanatic, with Luke Rounds, former defensive lineman, with us today, guys. We've got a great pod for you. We're going to talk about the Furman game and everything that came about that, the win, and then we'll get into the NDSU preview. We'll do a Grizz update first, but Luke, are you recuperated? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm better. If you follow me on Twitter, you probably saw me that I said I earned my headache that I had on Sunday. I think I was up till 3 a.m. tweeting at people after our win, and just so happy that we're still able to be on the pod talking about Grizz wins and moving on to the semifinals. Which I don't care what anybody says. The last one happened in 2011. I remember it. We all do. So It counts.
It counts. You know what? And you can say whatever you want that the NCAA took it away. That was back when they really enforced people getting benefits.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's not what happens now.
The cool thing is even ESPN refers to 2011. So I thought that was cool. And it's like, so
I wonder if that was by mistake or if they actually meant that.
It may have. Either way, it's cool, and I like it.
So. Exactly. Guys, just before we get into everything, we want to do a Grizz update, but Grizz basketball, the men's basketball, they play. They had a great onslaught of games for MSU Northern and Montana Tech. They beat MSU Northern 91-67.
That Northern game was awesome.
Yeah.
And we made number 1 on SportsCenter top 10 that night.
That was an amazing dunk. Oh my goodness. If you have not seen that dunk by Oki, oh my Lord.
Freaking cool.
It was cool. Montana Tech, we beat 88-67, which that was a really good one too, because I think Montana Tech's like ranked in the NAIA in like the top 10. So some good team there. This week they play Sunday. So they've got some time off for, I think, finals. They play in San Jose State, so that'll be a good one. And then they play on Tuesday at UC Davis, which they already played UC Davis this year as well, but they're doing a home and home this year. So, and then after that, we were getting in the Big Sky season. So it's pretty quick. The non-conference is down to 2 games, and then we're going into the Big Sky. Oh, actually, sorry, I'm wrong. Goodness. So they have Weber State and Idaho State there, and then they have the Big Sky Summit Challenge where we have those Summit teams, and then they go right back into it. So sorry about that. So Lady Grizz basketball. They play this Saturday in San Luis Obispo playing Cal Poly. And then they play Wednesday at San Diego. They had a really, really tough loss against Colorado State, which they hadn't lost all season. So, and that was a pretty cool game. I believe that was the Loyola Marymount game where they had the kids game.
Oh my gosh. If you haven't seen some of the videos, like we talked last week, it's deafening. Like, so loud. Like it's a different type of loud. It's scream. It's so cool though. Like, it's just like, but if you're an adult, wear your earplugs because it's just crazy. But I think it's so cool that they do that. I mean, it helps both the university and it gets all those kids that maybe have never been to one of those games before.
Exactly.
You get to experience that and maybe look at their parents take them again. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. They've got some injury problems right now with the Lady Grizz, so hopefully they can get in the right healthy and start winning a little bit more. As of right now, they're 3-3 overall with just hitting the injury bug right now. The men are 5-4, 5-1 at home, but 0-3 at home or away. So they've got that Pac-12 loss too. So kind of a harder way to have your win-loss record, but 2 really good teams that are going to be doing really well this year, and are going to be competing for that berth to the NCAA tournament. So Softball, they announced
Oh, the
their
beginning.
schedule. What's that?
I was just saying the beginning of the season is always tough because you get like you play like really good teams and you play basketball with that record. Seems like beginning of the season because of that.
Yeah, yeah. Softball, they announced their schedule for the spring. So if you're not aware of softball, they play a lot of games the first start of the year uh, away, just because they have to. They
Mm-hmm.
play pretty much all of February, all of March, or February, a good portion of March. I think their first home game is March 9th. So that first month they're on the road, or yeah, March 8th, sorry. And so uh, a pretty hard schedule that they try to play. It pays off for them in the conference realm. Like they're going to be playing like Nebraska. They've got, let's see here, Southern. They've got some South teams, St. Mary's, a lot of California schools, New Mexico, Toledo, New Mexico, Grand Canyon, Holy Cross, Northern Illinois. So they've got a pretty good schedule here. It's kind of just different because not every Big Sky team has a softball team,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's kind of a different onset. But good luck to them, and hopefully, if you guys are in town for one of those games, you guys definitely go check it out. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
so Luke, we got to win. Um, First off, I know that there might be some Furman fans watching us. Hello, we're glad you're here. Um, but we won. It wasn't like what we expected, and we've got to give them props. Their defense was amazing. Their defensive line uh, was probably one of the best defensive lines that we've seen all year. And this is not a slight. Hopefully, no one takes this as a slight. They remind me of Ferris State's defensive line, which Ferris State's defensive line had a couple D1 drop downs where they were really, really good. And so uh, they took it to us, and we made just enough plays where we came out on top. And right now, when you're in the playoffs, that's all that matters. So
Yeah, no, I agree. Their defensive line was very good. The way they stopped the run, the way they moved, I was impressed. Like I have all the respect for the Furman's defense. Just, I mean, as soon as the game was over, I mean, that's one thing I tweeted out was just I had mad respect for their
yeah,
defense. The way they stopped our run game just blew me away. I mean, Eli couldn't do much, Osmo a little bit. I mean,
yeah,
really, our run game was from Cliff, but just the way that they played so soundly and stuff, I was super impressed.
yeah.
That I mean, I'll admit it. Like last week, I was like, "Oh, it's the SoCon." Well, I'm impressed. Like they played really good defense. That is a darn fine football team.
Yep.
Um, I was getting some crap from people because I said that I felt like Huff played like a warrior out there, and I know
People were
his
giving you a hard time about that.
yeah, a few people gave me a hard time about not
Why?
Furman fans, like our own fans, I think, and just some other people because the reason I said that was the fact that like we're tackling that guy and he's still making plays,
Oh
and
yeah.
we were bashing that guy down and he's still getting up, and so
Yep.
I was impressed with Huff's play because we beat the crap out of him as much as we could, and he just kept playing harder and like that guy doesn't have any give up in him.
No,
Um,
he was definitely a baller. He made
yeah,
those plays. That one play that that tied the game. He got hit, I believe, by Braxton and
I think
Janicaro
so.
and threw it
Yeah.
up. And their big tight end caught it. But man, to make that throw, knowing that you're going to get clobbered,
Oh,
yeah, I would
yeah.
tell him. I think I even said it too that he was a warrior. So
That
yeah,
big tight end, you said I think he came from Fair State. I think he
did he
transferred.
really?
He was on their basketball team. I think.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
So we're talking about Huff a little bit. I want to bring this up right now. I cannot believe this. He's transferring. He's
Isn't that nuts?
So now the weird thing was, and I was arguing with some people on this, texting back and forth.
Yeah.
I thought ESPN had said that like in January, Huff's off to the military. Like I thought they made it sound like he was done. Like that, I was confused there, I guess, on how they were talking that, because I thought that he was done after this year. And
I thought it was too.
Maybe that was just maybe he just has, because he's part of the reserves, has to go do that until spring or something. But I was extremely surprised with the emotion he played, and hearing after the game he sat there on the field and just like didn't want to leave and all this. I was like, there's no way he's not going back for Furman if he has another year, but he's in the transfer portal. And then
he was a grad transfer though. He was already a grad transfer. So because didn't he transfer from Presbyterian?
I thought so.
I thought he transferred from Presbyterian in a graduate studies. So maybe he has one more year in his graduate studies that he can still play. I don't know. That's crazy.
I'm not sure. And then Luke Clark, number 44, he's transferring too, enter the transfer portal. So, and then one more too that we saw, DB or something.
Yeah, Micah something.
Yeah, it just surprised me. But I mean, that's the way of college football, I guess, now. So
yeah, definitely. You know, before we get into the game, do you want to like do some receipts on here? Like, you want to like come up and like
I was like, I took care of most of mine on Saturday night. But if you got a few, go ahead. I mean, I was like I said, I was up till almost 3 a.m. And I think the only person left with me at one point was old Brent from the GFP. Him and I were like, "Where is everybody?" Then I realized that at 3 a.m. our time, you know, that's like 5 a.m. Furman time. So
I just liked the G-Man 84. You know, 2 guys in their mother's basements. I was trying to get my mom over here to come on in the pod. But no, she's at her house. I live in my own house. Was
he the guy that was like, "Hey mom, where's the meatloaf?" or something?
Yeah, where's the meatloaf? Yeah. I tried to get my mom here to do that, but you know, she was busy, but no, she does not live with me and I don't live with my mom. So
I was really surprised how many Ferman fans watched the YouTube pod.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing that. We definitely appreciate it. And by no means, I didn't play Pop Warner. I did play football, and I did not go to Supercuts. I have somebody do it that's at an actual salon. But thank you for noticing my hair. With headphones, it's pretty hard to see my hair with these big old headphones. But hey, if you're gonna look at this beautiful mug, you might as well like take it all in, right?
I was cracking up at that because I'm like, man, I don't even go to the barber because I shaved my head. So like,
there you go.
Shave my own head and stuff. It's like I started going bald, so I just shave it myself. But
those are like, I think the only ones that I was like
tagged us in that, and I got on that message board, and it was like they went from ripping us, then they they attacked the GFP guys, and then they got in like their own fights with each other a little bit. I mean, I'm sure I was surprised that they you know, I guess Grizz can get that way too, but just listen. And I think I heard too that some of them found Grizz and jumped on there and were caught in a ruckus. And then I heard that they kind of left quickly because they couldn't handle our Grizzers bashing on them. So,
well, and then the last one, I don't know who it was, but they said something like, "Man, Grizz football should like shut them down." I'm like, well, like I guess they could if they wanted to sponsor our podcast. But we're a private podcast that is just, we do this for fun. We do not get paid. Even though you guys think we get paid, we don't get paid. I actually pay money to do this for fun. So we don't get paid.
Yeah, there was one person that said something about how I should have used my degree for something better than being a podcast person. Yeah, no, that's not what, like, this is not our career.
No.
Yeah.
I'd be really poor if this was.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just, we are not professionals. Like, again, we do this for fun because it's fun to do. And again, this is a Grizz podcast. Like, yeah, we wear our maroon glasses and stuff, and it's like we're not going to sit here and we're not ESPN guys. We're going to break down both sides. It's like, yeah, we're probably going to bash on your team a little bit. So
I don't think we really bashed. Like, we gave some props to where
last week. We were like, no one talked about that. I mean,
No.
yeah, we talked about their offensive line and giving away plays and doing that stuff, and
which he still did, by the way. Just
yeah.
let you guys know out there, he did. Yeah,
Well,
it just
and
let
our
you know.
defense, other than the 2 breakdowns where we let the big scores, I mean, just dominated them too. We didn't allow them to run or anything, and we were just our defense played awesome.
Yeah. So let's get into that. Let's dig into some of the stats, guys. The first downs are pretty identical. We had 17, they had 15. Rushing yards is crazy. The total net rush yards, we had 148, they had 94, so we held them under 100 rushing yards, which is really good. 3.4 average for us, 2.8 for them.
That 100-yard rushing stat is huge because, I was hoping we'd hold them under 200. I was like, I thought that would be a good day if we could do that, and that was huge.
Yeah. Passing, we had 208, they had 188, and a lot of that passing came probably on a couple plays.
Same with their rushing yards too. They had the big plays, really.
Yeah, that 55-yard run by, I think the quarterback was a large portion of it, and then I think that 30-yard heave to the tight end was a lot of that 188. So total offense, we had 356, which, looking at that, I think we're kind of right around that. I don't quote on me on that, but I think we're in the 380s to 390s, I believe. And they were at 282. So, sorry, excuse me. So penalties, we had 7 penalties for 90 yards. They had 3 penalties for 15 yards, which should have been a whole lot more because, goodness gracious, they held our defensive line so much.
Yeah,
oh my Lord,
that concerns me for next week too because the Bison love to hold as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the penalties is what killed us. I mean, you think about too that big stop that Gubbs had, and accidentally face masked that guy, and there was some other face masks in the game on us didn't get called.
Oh yeah, there was 2 or 3.
I mean, it's just I almost felt like watching that game, and this is why I wish that okay, if you're not going to give us Big Sky refs, give us Missouri Valley refs because they at least are used to some of these bigger crowds and games like this. I felt like those refs felt like they were in over their head, they seem nervous and it worries me about that. I wish we could get, or give us some Mountain West crews or something.
Exactly.
It's like when the playoffs are going, those other teams aren't playing in the FBS. Give us some better officiating and stuff.
Well, that's true. No one is playing.
Yeah.
No one is playing right now. So there should be a whole lot of plethora of officials that you could choose from.
Yeah, take some D1 crews out of the SEC and hey, you guys want to go check out Montana? Go, I think when it comes down to this level of playoffs, and you got 2 teams like Furman and the Grizz who are playing, they should have extra officiating there. And then I think that they should change it too, where you have more cameras.
Yeah,
in the regular season, have them right on the end zone for the punt that I thought we knocked back. I didn't think it actually crossed the plane. I couldn't tell from the angle. And then, the non-call offsides on our field goal, the whole stadium, and it sure looked like they jumped and didn't get called. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some of that stuff's just frustrating.
It is. It's really frustrating. They had 12 punts, which I didn't know that. We had 9. So we did punt the ball. Our average was about 43, but we had 3 punts on the inside of the 20, which really helped us flip the yardage where they're starting out. But, one of the things that kind of was glaring to us to me is the field goals that we kind of got off on, right? We were 2 for 4.
Yeah.
We hit those, and it kind of changes the direction of that game where, we're not just up 7, we're up 13, and that's a different ball game. And I think the plays that are called are a little bit different.
It's way different when you're up 2 scores. And I get that's why we were going for the field goal, because to try to get up 2 scores. That second one, though, when it's 4th and 3, I was like, man, give it to Cliff. For the way we were kind of driving there, I was just like, let's just keep it going. Just keep it going. Because of the fact that we missed and it was the same distance and it felt like he was short. That's where I was like, ooh, when you're short, if you got the leg and then you're just left or right in a little bit, I get that.
Yep.
If you're short. I was just like, man, maybe he can't plant right, or I mean, I don't know that much about kicking, so I was just like, but it still worried me, and then we missed it again, and they get the ball there anyway. So it's like I'd rather see us go for it at that point. And if we don't get it, well, all right, they still got the ball there. So,
well, and off of those, like you just give the momentum right back to them too, and you just don't step on their neck to end it. Our defense saved us in those situations where they didn't allow them to counter on that.
They absolutely did. Now, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So, after the first play of the game, when Junior effing Bergen runs,
oh my gosh,
my thought was, oh my God, we're gonna blow these guys away. Like, I admit that. I was just like, oh, this is it. We're the start of it, and it wasn't that way. But I mean, thank goodness for Junior Bergen. I mean, that guy has just like, it's like he's a freaking video game character out there that you put all 99s on or something when you made your old NCAA, team. It just amazes me. And then
in Bergen we trust.
And then they get a second one on punt too. Yeah. And then what's amazing about like that punt one, all the opportunities for people to try to block in the back or do something like that, and no one did.
No one did.
It was just, I mean, it was phenomenal. Just amazing. I mean, like, yeah, I called before the game to Sean Rainey. He asked for like your obscene projections, and one of them I said was Junior Bergen's going to get player of the game, and I was right there.
Yeah, you asked like
if he didn't get player of the game, he should have, because that was, I mean, that was amazing, his performance.
Yeah. So when they scored that first run back, I was like, oh, this is gonna be a game. And then they come and they go down real pretty quickly and score, and I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah, I know.
This isn't gonna be as easy as I thought.
We got a real ball game here.
Yeah. Miss those 2 field goals, and you're like, oh, I stood the entire game. That next day, my glutes and my like thighs were so sore because I was like jumping. I was going down. My wife thought I was like, she's like, you sound like you're constipated because I'm like groaning and like, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I was worried about my neighbors because of the language coming out.
Yeah.
At some points.
I had to watch it because my kids were in the room too, so I wasn't like that. But
my daughter, who's 16, at one point goes, "Wow," and went upstairs because my mouth was foul. That's very, very foul. And then at the end, when we freaking get the 4th down and stop them and stuff, my wife and I are hugging and stuff. It was crazy, man. We were just going nuts. And,
that's awesome.
That's when I started having beers. Like before that, I didn't have a single drop the whole game. I was just like, you were standing, staring, going, oh my gosh, and just all the emotions throughout the whole thing. And yeah, just what an emotional game. It's not at all what I thought it would be like.
No.
Again, very impressed with Furman, their players, their staff. I mean, that's what you think a semifinal game is going to be like. And
yeah,
that was impressive.
It was kind of comical. Did you watch the post game?
Oh yeah,
of Furman.
They shut that player down. Like I was watching it, whatever feed I was watching for. Like they go back to him, and he's like, "I'll talk about Huff," and he's like, "That's the guy he is." And then it just shuts off. I was like, "Oh," and it went to something else.
Yeah, it was really weird. Like, he was
offended. Yeah, he was pissed. He says that we took it out of context, and that's not. He said what he said.
Yeah,
about our guys being unathletic. And then I love the fact that there was multiple signs that said that, like especially the big one at the end, the students.
Oh yeah, yep,
awesome. But
didn't he say something like he was like, yeah, we got on online, so the players got online.
Oh yeah, so like, and like Brent was talking about this that day too, and we were tweeting. He's like, I bet all these guys are gonna stop tweeting during the game. Well, yeah, I think there was burner accounts set up by players. And that's what they were doing in their hotel room, was sitting there talking shit to the fans. And I think some of those were the same ones talking crap about us on their message board and stuff. So they were not happy. I mean, good job, Nation, for riling them up, because they were not happy with all of us and the crap talking that everybody was doing and stuff. He was going to talk about it, and then it just got cut off. I was like, oh my God.
And it wasn't like He basically threw Colton Nuanez under the bus that he said he was unethical.
Yeah.
Like what he didn't edit the clip.
No.
He put the full clip out there.
Yeah.
What is he supposed to do? Not produce clips of his radio station and not
the fact that he said that stuff about Coulter is just dead wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, Coulter does a great job. And
Yeah.
as we know, and we complain, people complain about our own fans because he does such a good job of telling both sides of every team.
Exactly.
So it's like for him to say that, he's just I chalked it up to he's pissed because the season's over.
Yeah.
And he said, I'll talk about this, and like he was just still fired up. So
yeah. I thought it was kind of comical because it was like
the other guy, the linebacker, looked like he was about to break down.
He was like distraught.
It's an emotional. You play a game like that and come off and you lose in overtime. It's hard. That's why I'm not surprised that Huff wasn't out there. It's like you don't know what you're going to say because the emotions are still really high. It's hard to come down after that. It takes a while to decompress.
Yeah. So I just thought that was really interesting. One thing that from it that was really impressive. We were 4 of 17. They were 4 of 21 on third down. They had 2 sacks. We had 3. But how much we ran. So one thing that bothered me is, and even my wife pointed this out, and my wife is pretty. She knows, she watches football, so she doesn't. It's not like she doesn't know anything about football. We run the same plays a couple different times, and there is a clip of McDowell talking to Bobby, and he says, you can read his lips, "Run it again." No, just run it again. And it's just like, they just stopped us. Like, what?
Yeah.
Why? Like, you know that you're getting a little bit of yardage with passing the ball. Like, why are you're not getting anything on the ground? It's like we went back to Bobby ball and like went back to like pre NAU where we just started doing the same things, and like it's like we get panicked, and then all of a sudden it's like we have to revert back to something that we already know didn't happen. And I had a question on this that someone, my friend Mike said, did we change our splits? Because after a while, our splits, did they get smaller?
Yes, they did.
So,
because the reason that we did that was when our splits were super wide, they were taking advantage of it because of their quickness on the defensive line, and they were shooting the gap so fast we couldn't catch them, and they were getting through. Okay. So to minimize that, you shorten your splits up. And so what I noticed is that certain plays we shorten them up, certain plays we put them out again. So we started kind of moving them back and forth throughout the game a little bit. But we definitely started bringing them in because of the fact they were shooting the gap so fast.
Well, and then when we shortened our gaps, it just felt like we couldn't get anything running wise. Wow. And so that kind of worries me going into this NDSU game. There, like, and I'm going to say it. I think that we'll probably get hit back. NDSU's offensive line I don't think compares to Furman's. I think Furman's is better, but they have a couple of guys on there that will be very, very good on their defensive line. So it'll be interesting to see what we do in those situations. Yeah.
Well, I've got a lot on NDSU. We can get into that when we go on their D line and their offensive line too. But when you were talking about us and the running of those same plays over and again, I think you basically had the same conversation I was having with my wife. We're watching. I said, what's the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yep.
It was like, that's what we're doing right now.
Yep.
And we need to stop it. Thank goodness we did in overtime. And like, it was like when we didn't do it, we would move the ball and
yep.
Yeah. I get we're trying to establish the run to open up the pass, and all that, but it wasn't working. I was like, it's not working.
The pass was open though. Yeah. Our wide receivers were blowing by their DBs.
And I think some of it could have been Cliff was off a little bit that night. Like, like some of his reads weren't correct and stuff. Everybody's gonna have an off night. And I worried a little bit about this going into the week because we had a short week.
Mm-hmm.
And like our guys and the way the program is run by Bobby's, everything is so like regimented and stuff.
Yeah.
And it being, basically lost a day. They usually get Sundays off, and they had to practice immediately on Sunday to make it, basically shift the whole week. And that can throw teams off and make you not heal as bad, quick. And all of a sudden it's almost like you're rushing the whole week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that could have affected. I mean, yes, Furman, same thing, right? They had a short week too, but it just felt like we were off a little bit, in that case, like almost like, I don't know if we were looking forward to the next game too or what, because it worried me a little bit when we started getting closer. I was like, oh God, we are favored by a lot. And you start thinking, oh yeah, we got this. And I was like, that's been like, well, it seems like when we've played our worst is when we're favored the most.
Yeah.
When we played our best is when either we're not favored or the underdog this year.
Underdog, yep.
So I'm glad to see that we're already not favored going into this weekend, even though it's by like 1.5 or something. But like,
yeah,
that's a good thing. Like, it seems like we rise to the occasion when we're not supposed to be there this year. So
which is nuts, by the way, for a home team that is the top seed, not to be favored by at least 1 or 2 or 3. That is nuts.
I get it.
That just lets you know that the fan, like whoever does those, really looks at the brand and says, "Well, NDSU is the 9-time." That's totally what it is.
Well, I think it's that it's North Dakota State being who they are in this dynasty, but I think also it's okay. They beat the Cats in overtime, but then USD, who is ranked 3, a 3 seed. They go in and just roll them. Like,
they roll,
make them look stupid.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh my God, you do that, and that's going to turn heads. And they're going, okay, this team has no issues winning on the road, and they're rolling right now. Yeah. And then the Grizz, who we were, 21-point favorites or 17.5, depending on which line.
Yeah.
We barely win it over. We win in overtime. It's like, so I think that's the combination of all that stuff is what is causing us to be, not favored for the Bison being favored by 1.5. So,
well, it's just interesting just because you look at USD, but and I haven't. I'm not going to be honest with you. I haven't watched South Dakota play, but watching that game, it looked like South Dakota shouldn't have been ranked like by a lot.
There's a clip that I shared on Twitter of their D line. Just the one that running through and trucking the offensive line of USD. Now, a good friend of mine, Brett Heidel, pointed out that they need to get lower, and they do. They stood right up, and North Dakota State had the leverage and just pushed them over. So, I mean, but that's just it. Just felt like USD was off. I don't know. It's like I think almost like USD thought, well, we beat him earlier this year. We'll beat him again now that because they beat him in Fargo.
Yeah.
And man, they showed up, and North Dakota State was just ready there, and they just wow. I mean, that's not what I expect. I don't think anybody expected them to beat them like that.
No, I thought that NDSU was going to win, but not like that. Holy cow!
Yeah, I thought they would win, and I hope they would win. Like I want.
Oh yeah.
Like that's who I want to come in here. I mean, this game's huge. Like I really thought when it was North Dakota State and they were winning, I thought for sure, we're going to get the Friday night game again because it's Friday night and all that. Yeah. But then all of a sudden it popped up. They kind of let it out early. They showed our game and it said ESPN, Saturday 2:30. So I'm excited that it's a Saturday game at 2:30. So
and
gives our guys an extra day of rest.
Well, you always want to beat the best, and like I talked to a couple of my friends, and we've always wanted to dethrone the Bison. This year for them is not like ordinary ones. They're still a very good team. They're still 11-3. They're still top 4. If you look at some of the things that their team, they're still top 3, top 4 in the nation on a lot of statistics. So
I was
to be great.
Ric Flair quote: "If you want to be the man, you got to beat the man."
Exactly.
That's exactly right. And I think that's what Bobby wants to do. That's what our team wants to do.
Yeah,
we all want. So heck yeah.
So I'm just going to throw this out there. That this is my person to watch, Eli Gilman. You better watch that guy in this game.
Well,
With what he went through last game against Furman
exactly.
and NDSU, the past. If you want to go watch an episode of ours, watch the Eli Gilman interview that we did with him. This game means something for him.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're gonna see something.
Well, and I hope Eli rewatches the ESPN footage of the Furman game.
Yeah.
Because they kind of were dogging him a bit.
Oh yeah.
Having a good game. Like, he's the Jerry Rice Award winner. Boy, they're really stuffing him back and stuff. And here's the other thing. Like, and I saw people throwing this out there all over like Facebook and other things. And I guess I'd love to hear from like the Furman fans' perspective on this.
Mm-hmm.
But to us, it sure felt like ESPN was in love with Furman.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Other than when she's in the zoo crew, the rest of the time she's talking to the sideline reporters, talking about how great Ferman is, and boy, she just was in love with Huff. It felt like, and and then even like the guys in the booth, it just felt like, oh, Ferman this, oh, Ferman that, oh, Ferman this, and it was like,
but they were that way over with Delaware though too.
Well, even
not as much, but
with Ferman,
yeah,
and it was just like, boy, it felt that way. So I guess my question is like, if any Furman fan wants to comment on this, because maybe it's just my maroon glasses. Does it feel the opposite to you? Do you feel like they were just Montana the whole time, and it's just because we love Montana so much that all we hear is their Furman talk the whole time?
Well, so if you guys want, there's a comment section on the YouTube, and there's also you can comment to us via Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. But yeah, a lot of the Furman fans I think got us on YouTube, so. Definitely a spot for you to comment on there. Oh man, you want to go into this NDSU? Or you get last thoughts?
Let's do some last thoughts in the Furman game. Like I'll admit, like when we went to overtime, well, two things. Like right there at the end, like the last thing I'm like, so I was worried about like what happened with Idaho. Hayden Hatton. It's like he's their go-to. I'm like, okay, they're gonna throw it to that damn tight end who's like 6'8". And sure enough, we're basically sacking Huff, and he's falling down, throws it up, and it was a beautiful pass. And that guy high points it. I'm just like, are you freaking kidding me?
Oh, isn't he like 6'7", 6'8"?
Yeah, he's huge. I mean, that's the basketball player from Ferris State.
Yeah.
So he knows how to high point. The guy's awesome. Like, I'm like, come in the NIL, come play for the Grizz.
Exactly.
I mean, come in the NIL. I mean, come in the transfer portal, come play for us. Shoot. And then I knew they were going to go for 2. Like, I was like, they're going for 2. Yeah. And I think we would have stuffed it right there.
Oh, yeah.
Luckily for them, they were offsides, and it pushed them back, and they have to kick it because I think that play goes on. We stop it right there, and it's over. So they go into overtime, and of course, we don't win the freaking coin toss. We haven't won a coin toss like in 8 games, I swear.
Yeah.
And so, of course, they go on defense first. But, I mean, I was impressed with their offense. Clifton throws this amazing pass in the end zone for a touchdown. We go ahead and kick it through. And then I'm right there. I was like, okay, it's done. And I was like, I think our defense is just going to stuff them. And, boy, the defense was fired up. And we stopped them and no penalties. And ball game. I mean, the cool thing too, that whole crowd was so into it. You see usually when the guys are singing the fight song, the crowd's empty, and that crowd is there. Like,
everybody's there.
Staying, no one left. I thought that was so cool. I hope that we get the same thing this weekend and even more people. I think this weekend it's going to sell out. Like,
I think so too. Well, just because it's 2:30 on a Saturday, I think you're going to get people from all over Eastern Montana that can make that. I've got a question for you on those things that you kind of mentioned. Sure. Were you done with your your?
Oh, yeah, I'm done. I'm just so happy that we won. That's why I stayed up so late.
Oh man,
everybody.
So 2-point conversion, right? So they lined up offsides. We would have stopped that anyways. I think that's a bogus rule that they get to replay that down.
Oh, I agree.
For me, it's if they are offsides on their 2-point conversion, it should just be done.
Yeah.
I think if because you're rewarding bad behavior.
Yeah, that's true.
You're saying, well, hey, you were offsides. Hey, have another chance at it. I think if you, it's something that I don't
Well,
know if they've changed.
they kind of let the play run out, and the
Yeah,
announcer said that. I bet Montana wish they could just decline this right now.
exactly.
It'd be over. But
Yeah,
I think that's why they let you redo it, is because, especially if they blow the whistles, it's like, oh, well, half the players probably stop playing or whatever. That's
yeah.
the BS behind it. So
That kind of made me frustrated because I'm like, well, why are you rewarding bad behavior?
yeah,
Something that maybe they'll check out next time. The coin toss, right? You mentioned the coin toss. Okay, hypothetical, right? Let's say we win the coin toss.
sure.
I already know what I think Hulk would do. What would you think he would have done?
Oh, he's gonna go on defense first.
See, I think so too. I think that would have been the wrong choice.
Right. And
And
I
this is
actually
just
I actually know the answer to this because he told us at QB Club.
okay.
So I'd love to talk about it, but we're not allowed to talk about it.
Okay. So, but this is just my thoughts on it. These are not anything from that. These are my thoughts.
I mean,
And you don't have.
so he's told us exactly what he thought. I'm not supposed to talk about it, but
Okay.
It's
Later. My thoughts on it are: you just got scored on, right? They've got the momentum. They've got your defense was just on the field. I would say no. I'm not going to put my defense on the field. I'm going to rest them up. I'm
sure.
going to get them to kind of see what we need.
Well,
I would put my offense out there.
To that point, you get to pick what side of the field too if you do that.
Exactly. So that's if I was the coach, that's what I would do. It might. Knowing I don't know Bobby, but I know his his thinking. He probably would have done the opposite.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, and it tells you. I mean, you think about it. This is why you always go on defense first, because then you know what you have to do on offense.
Yeah.
That's why, like in overtime, that's what you should pick, because then, like, if they score, you know what you have to do next.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But, there is one more thing I wanted to talk about in this game.
Yes.
I almost forgot about, and I just remembered. So the Junior Bergen catch in the end zone that he pinned the ball behind.
Yeah.
A lot of people think, like, some people are like, hey, I think it's a touchdown. I'm one that I don't think it was a touchdown. And here's the reason why: is if he's got it pinned and he goes down, and then in the process of that, because he left his feet and it was coming down, it comes loose, and then he pins it again. Because it came loose when he's on the ground, that's why it's not.
But and this might be NFL, but the ground can't cause you to fumble it, right?
No, the
Or
ground.
do you have to go through contact and have it, and then it's okay?
As a catch, because he was up in the air first, my understanding is because he jumped and left his feet.
Yeah,
Once you catch it, you have to then come down the whole way. And because he was sliding out of bounds and then let's go, so all of a sudden he loses possession, he's out of bounds. Now, if he would have done that in bounds and let go and then grabbed it back because it's above him, touchdown. But the fact that he was out of bounds when that happened, all of a sudden it's done.
I still think they should have called it a touchdown, just because that would have been an awesome freaking play.
The thing
plus couldn't they have called a pass interference, because that guy was all over him.
Maybe I was just
literally had to like catch it like.
Well, I was surprised they didn't review it at all. Like, it didn't feel like they even. I mean, I thought it was worth them at least looking at it, but they didn't, which surprised me. So
yeah. The punt return. For those out there, we had a death in the family, so we had a lot of family at where we were watching it, and it was so loud on that punt return. The kids were yelling, the parents were yelling, everybody was yelling and jumping up and down. I'm pretty sure like the neighborhood was like, what in the world is going on? Man, that was a cool sight. The snow that kind of came off and on was super cool. One of those those games you probably won't forget. My App State game where I was at the semifinal game was pretty amazing. But where would you put that game at? We're in the echelon of like playoff games. Sela would probably be high up there when they came back and Touré's game.
That one, or the South Dakota State game where Mark Mariani.
Yeah.
led the comeback. That's a big one. The App
That's a big
State
one.
one that you talk about.
Yep.
The one we had that question, our favorite one. Jimmy Ferris just posted his today
Yep.
on Twitter again when he won it for us against App State in 2000. That's one of my favorites. I mean, this is up there. I'd say it's in the top 10 for sure, maybe even top 6 or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's up there, definitely.
Yeah. That's a.
I think this next weekend's could be up there too.
Oh man.
I mean,
See, yeah, I hope that it's not that close because I don't think my body can deal with that again.
Yeah, my heart. I should have a blood pressure cuff under that game. I'm sure it was just spiking through the roof.
Oh Lord, I was not. It was not good. I was happy we won, but I was like, oh, thank gosh, it's over because I don't think I could have lasted very long after that.
This is gonna sound stupid, but I mean, I still get super intense for the games like that. I was shaking afterwards. Like, oh my gosh, it's just like because you just get so into it and stuff. And just so proud of our guys, the way they played, the way they stepped up, got the win, and again, props to Furman. They came and they played their asses off. Like they gave it. Both teams left everything on the field, and just big props to both teams for doing that because that's why it's like it's so cool to see FCS football on like the national stage in a game like that. Like I was getting texts from people in North Dakota, Arizona, Wyoming, the state of Washington, Colorado, Indiana, Michigan, Illinois. I think.
Wow.
I mean, just all the people watching it. I'm just like, oh my God, just holy cow, look at your Grizz. What this? I bet you're stressing out. I'm like, yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Yep.
It just amazed me, all the eyes on it. So another thing I asked Sam, I was talking to Sam Herder yesterday because I was trying to get the numbers for the TV. He said they don't come out until tomorrow is when they're going.
Oh, okay. So
he'll probably post them because I was just curious. I was like, I'm just wondering how we're doing, especially this week when we're basically the only game. And besides the Army Navy game, these were the games. And then a Friday night game, it felt like there was a lot of people watching that game. A lot of people just love college football. So I'm curious to see where those numbers end up. And it sounds like Sam's going to post that probably tomorrow whenever they come out.
What do you think the number is for that Friday night game?
Oh man, like what did we have earlier this year when we played?
It was like 225, I think, for our last for the Delaware, I believe it was.
Well, no, I was thinking about the earlier game we had this year where we had like 1 million people watching it.
Oh, really?
Oh, what was that night game we had?
Not Ferris State.
No, it wasn't Ferris State.
Sac State.
Yeah, was it the Sac State game?
Sac State game.
One of those games because
Idaho.
Yeah, maybe it was Idaho. I think it was Idaho. The Idaho game. That's the one it was.
Yeah.
And we had like 1.5 million or something. Like I wouldn't be surprised if it's close to 2 million watching that game because it was the only thing in town. And I mean, Pat McAfee's watching it. You see all his tweets and stuff. I mean, everybody was watching that game because it's the only game in town. And I mean,
Friday night football, man.
Grand out there, and people were enjoying watching football. And I mean, we'll see what happens this weekend. I think this game could even trump that because it's you got the Grizz and the Bison. So
I would be surprised if it's not over 1 million.
I bet it was. 1 million. That's why I think it was closer to probably 2. I'm hoping, but I'll be excited to see when those numbers come out.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. And then it just lets ESPN know, FCS football. There's a market for it, right? And so especially Big Sky football teams and even the SoCon, right, Ferman? Even those guys can play some football. So definitely a props to them. So, but yeah, we've got life in us, man. We're gonna play another week. We've got the 9-time North Dakota State Bison, 11-3 guys, 5-3 in the conference. They've had some opponents just to go down. I figured I was writing a book. Goodness gracious, of how many games they've played. They've played 14 games this year.
Yeah.
Eastern Washington, they played in Minnesota, I believe. 35 win.
I think that was US Bank Stadium where they played that game.
Yep. Played Maine 44-7, win. Then played Central Arkansas, and I believe it was like 49-31. I believe it was pretty close.
Yep.
Played South Dakota. That was their first loss, 19-24, which we know they got back at.
It's hard to beat a team twice in the same year, but oh my God, they just
they showed them. Missouri State, 38-10, and then that North Dakota game, right, 24-49, which is just nuts.
Which is wild because Sac went in there and beat North Dakota.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, yeah. But this next couple of games, they I think they just start finding their groove, right? Well, Western Illinois 52-7.
Western Illinois sucks this year.
Murray State 38-6.
Another team that's not very good this year.
South Dakota State they lose, but 16-33, not too bad against the defending national champions.
And it was in Brookings too. So
yep. And then these next games are good ones, right? Southern Illinois 34-10, right?
And Southern Illinois is a playoff team.
Yep. So. Northern Iowa, fringe playoff team, 48-27. Really feel bad for them right now with what's going on in their athletic department.
Yeah, that sucks.
Which that's just nuts. Drake, the Pioneer, I believe it's the Pioneer League, that 66-3.
That one I throw out as
I throw that one out too.
And then congrats to Drake for making it, but I mean, it's like that's just a different type of football that North Dakota State's playing, and
Yep. And then the neighbors, 35-34. That was a really good game. They showed some holes in that game and kind of showed where they could be defeated a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
A chink in the armor, right? And then this last game, 45-17 against South Dakota, an absolute shellacking. But man,
so jumping back to that game against the neighbors real quick.
Yeah.
So they beat them by blocking the PAT at the end, and so a friend of mine, his name's John Miller, he lives here in Rapid City, also played for North Dakota State back in the day. And so him and I talk a lot about football and stuff. And he had the picture on his phone and he showed it to me of the kid, and he's got the laces on his arm because that.
Oh my gosh, really
left the laces marks. And he said that he's going to get it tattooed on him.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Because it's like a 6'8", like third string offensive lineman. It's his like claim to fame blocking that. But you could literally see the football laces on his forearm. It was freaking cool.
That is funny. Oh my gosh.
That was a fun moment because and there's people out there that were like, yeah, we want Grizz, Grizz Cat too. I didn't. I'm like, I feel like this year is the revenge tour year. Mm-hmm. And we're on this revenge tour, and North Dakota State's a team we need to get revenge on. They've kicked our ass.
Yeah.
Basically, since we beat them with Stitt back in the day.
2015.
They've been kicking our ass.
Yep.
And so what an opportunity we have for them to come into Grizz and for us to have the opportunity to beat them finally. I'm so pumped about this.
I am too. Like Ric Flair, like he said, beat the best. You got to be the best. You got to beat the best, right? So
absolutely.
So let's go into their season, guys. North Dakota State, they're averaging 38.8 points a game. Here in this last end of it, they're averaging over 40. If you look at their games, that Drake game kind of makes it go a little bit higher because it's 66 points. They're only allowing 19 points. This is a really, really interesting stat. They have 103 points off of turnovers. It is crazy. They have
I believe they lead the nation in turnovers right now.
21 interceptions. It leads the nation. They also are top 3 in third down percentage. They're top 3 in red zone scoring, which I'll get to here in a little bit. But rushing, right? They're really well balanced, guys. They like to run the ball, and they do a lot of different things where they're going to put a guy on every head, right? And they're going to block you, and you're going to have one guy that's open that can make the tackle. And if you don't, they're gone. And this is how they play. So they've got 241 rushing yards. They're averaging a little over 5 a carry, 201 yards passing. Opponents are only averaging 107 or 176 rushing, 187 passing. Kick return, they've got a pretty good kick return, 20.2. Penalties, they're only averaging about 52. Like I said, third down percentage, they're over 51%. Fourth down percentage, they're over 60%. They've got 36 sacks on the year. So they're getting a lot of production there as well. Red zone, they're 60 of 64, 94%. 45 of those 64 are touchdowns, so 70%. So one thing that's interesting, though, is opponents' red zone is 31 of 34.
Oh.
And they are bend, don't break, right?
Yeah, they're absolutely bend, but don't break.
Yeah, and they got 18 of 34 that are actually touchdowns. So you may be getting into the end zone, but you're not scoring touchdowns. That's going to be a key to this game is when we're in there, we're not getting field goals, we're scoring touchdowns.
Yeah, we have to.
Any thoughts on that?
The other one that I had heard was that for most of the year, the Bison have been scoring around 90% on their opening drive. They usually
Yep.
So that's a big one that we need to try to take away right away, is not allow them to score on their opening drive, because that'll kind of upset the apple cart for them a little bit.
Well, and also another thing is they're averaging about 22 yards a kick return. So if they're not playing their cards right, they kick it to Bergen. It could be Bergen touchdown for us.
Well, that's what I know. So like on their kickoff, they have the ability to kick it through the end zone. Like here's my guess that because of what happened last week, we're not going to see them kicking to Bergen on kickoff. They're probably just going to kick it through the end zone and play defense. So let's talk about a little bit more special teams, though.
There you go.
One thing I did notice is on their punt coverage, there's a lot of holes in it. They don't have the best punt coverage. And so the way our defense has been playing, if we can get them to punt, there's a really good chance we could see some really big run backs, or the way our team blocks and does a great job blocking, we could see some huge returns. I know that Montana State was doing a great job against them, the punt return. So that's one area that I feel like, especially in the special teams game, that we could expose, is there's a lot of holes in that punt coverage. And the fact that, Bobby focuses on that and our team takes pride in it, we could have some good opportunities to either get really good field position or possibly see another score by Junior.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. So, go into their roster, Luke. Cam Miller, right? Their quarterback, right? 199 of 267. He's got a little over 2,500 yards this year, 18 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He's averaging about 180 yards throwing. He doesn't get too much. He's a pretty decent passer. I think he's improved since last year that we've played him, because I was kind of going off of that reference, and so he's improved in that area. He gets his carries on. He's like the second leading rusher on their team, right?
Yeah.
He's got 128 carries for 645 yards, averaging over 5 yards a carry. He's got 13 touchdowns on the year with running the ball. And so that they do some packages with their backup quarterback as well.
Yeah.
Where that Cole Payton, he's only thrown at the ball 27 times. I think he's 18 to 27 for 289.
But he's in it. Feels like they're more running. He's more of that running threat. But
he's got 77 carries for 573 yards. He's over 7 a carry. He's got 12 touchdowns this year with just running the ball. So
they're trying to bust that big play with him a lot. Big running play. But getting back to that Cam Miller, just watching the film on him. I mean, the thing I said was, he's a very efficient passer from what I saw. Like he takes care of the ball and puts it in the right place. And so one of the things I wrote down too is we got to put pressure on him. If we can pressure him, but at the same time we're doing that, we need to keep containing the pocket and keep him in the pocket and just collapse that pocket. We can't let him run out, because he loves to get on the run and
loves to do it.
Run the ball. And so that's again kind of like the Bozeman QBs and some of the other QBs we've faced against Idaho, containing him and then hitting him and hitting him and hitting some more. Because I don't think he's too used to getting hit too much. And so if we can bang him up a little bit, that could definitely affect his game and be a benefit for us. So
Exactly, exactly. You know, their bread and butter is running the ball, and they've got a really good back. Tamarick Williams, 113 carries, 715 yards, averaging over 6 yards a carry, 8 touchdowns, averaging 51 yards. He's very patient, and then he's gone, right? And so a very good back. They also have a wide receiver, Raja Nelson, that they use sometimes as well. He's got 52 carries and 286 yards with 2 touchdowns. But, you know, you've got Cam Miller running the ball, Tamarick Williams running the ball. You got Cole Payton running the ball. One thing that we're going to have to really make sure is the big plays, right? We were a little susceptible of the big plays the last game. The big plays are going to be these wide receivers, right?
yeah,
They've got 2 wide receivers that are pretty good. Zach Mathis.
yep.
He's like 6'6" or 6'7".
Yeah, number 0. So here's when I watched him play. Here's what I wrote down about him. I said Zach Mathis. I go, he's tall and he has a large catch radius. Like his catch radius, like he catches the ball all over the damn place. You don't have to be accurate because of the fact of his catch radius being so big. He's very talented. And so like I wrote down, our DBs are going to need to contain this guy. Like we have on this guy because he has such a big catch radius. He's number 0. Is who you'll be watching out there. Is Mr.
He's got 45 receptions, 651 yards, and 6 touchdowns. But go ahead.
No, the guy is just good. And I saw another thing I wrote down was we can't give up the big play. We got to do our assignments and stuff on him. We just got to stay with this guy. We can't let him get out there. And that's so like the big plays watching against Ferris. Or not Ferris, sorry.
Furman.
Against Furman. Those big plays they had, they were breakdowns in our defense. Guys not doing rewatching the film, it was like, oh, so many missed their assignment or went the wrong direction or got caught up here.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if they would have done normally what we do, they wouldn't have broke those plays. So again, it's going to be really on defense doing their 111th, making sure that they're not giving up that big play, especially to this fella, because they're going to be looking for him when it's like they're looking for a big play, like especially when they get in, you know. Their whole thing on offense is like, let's run the ball on first down, but get it. It's like 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3. And that's where they want to bang that big play. And that's when we got to watch out for number 0. And I'm sure the other guy you're going to talk about is probably 13. He's the other one that jumped off the page. The
true freshman.
I didn't know he was a true freshman.
He's a true freshman.
I was like, who's 13? He's the other guy that's jumping out at me right now. So.
Eli Green, 40 receptions, 779 yards, 2 touchdowns. Pretty sure if North Dakota State does not get him back this year, he might be going somewhere because he's electric, man. He is downright electric. He's speedy. He's got really good hands.
Yeah.
And
he's really
dynamic.
He's really good at high pointing the ball. Doing that Andy Moss thing. Like that, he goes way up and it times it perfectly. So that's another one we got to just stay on him. And like, I think too, if both 13 and 0, if we get the chance to like, you know, bang them up a little bit and put the the pads to them, I think that could help us a lot too. Because then all of a sudden, instead of having this, I can catch you anywhere, they're gonna hear little footsteps and be watching a little bit, and so that could help us a lot.
Well, and you mentioned it, Luke. It's something that I was going to mention a little bit earlier, but North Dakota State does not like to be play from behind with scoring and also the chains, right? So they like to run the ball on 1st and 2nd down, and then they like to have it 3rd and short, right? It opens up the playbook. When they don't, they feel rushed. The quarterback is a little bit rushed, and he tries to, run outside the pocket, and then that's where you get those long throws. And they really throw a lot of the balls to the sideline. And I don't know if that's just because they're afraid of the accuracy or whatnot, or just not getting rid of the ball. But I think a lot of their throws are the sideline.
They're hoping that you're running man out there, and they can catch you the one-on-ones. They're really wanting to get both 0 and 13 in man coverage and one-on-one. And if they think they can get man. So, like, if we're running man free or just, manning up out there and it's second, and they're in front of the change, they're totally going to go after these guys for that big play. They love that big play opportunity. But to your point, if we can keep them behind the chains all day, like we have been on some of these teams, we started doing that to Ferman, and that's what kind of caused them. That's what we did against the Cats too, and that really helped. So if we can use that same thing to do that, it's going to help us a ton. I'll let you keep going. I want to talk about.
No,
we're going to keep talking about the offense. I want to talk about the offensive line and what our D line can do to stop those guys too. So,
well, and you mentioned, you know, the neighbors, right?
Yeah,
I see that kind of a game plan kind of working for this team too, and it's not going to be the same game plan. But what we did with the neighbors, I think something like that could help. Like this team, they have, and I'm not trying to diss on the neighbors, but their wide receivers are better than the neighbors. I'm just going to say that they're more talented, they're more athletic, they're just bigger, and so I think that's something that's going to throw a wrench in that. Is just that they have something else that we have to kind of look out after. And then you know their tight ends are big too, and they try to get them involved as well. So
they even will line up some of their linemen in the tight end position. Like, it's I mean, it's they do a lot there. Like,
and that they might have 6 or 7 linemen on the line.
They will
with their tight ends, you know. But
they love to shift them back and forth. They do a lot of like personnel changes, trying to mess you up so that you get. They're just basically trying to confuse the defense so that you're not sure who your assignment is, and that's when they can get that big play too, because they're messing with you. But the good thing is we got the film, and our guys are working on that stuff. So that we won't be caught off guard.
Well, and one of the things that I think you're going to get to too is with NDSU, usually their line are all Americans, and they're good. I'm not saying that they're not good. They're good, but considered to other NDSU teams, it's not like, oh man, this is we're not going to get to them.
This isn't that 2019 team.
No,
like 4 guys in the NFL, and this isn't that team.
Yeah. I just think that our speed on the side, Hayden Harris is really playing a really good game. Riley Wilson's really playing a good game. I think that we can kind of beat them on the ends a little bit with our speed.
Harris is looking really good. Like he is come into it, is understanding the defense and playing some of his best football right now.
Yeah. So let's get into that offensive line a little bit and tell us what you see. And even though they like to, 74 or whatever likes to hold a lot.
Yeah. So number 74 holds on every play.
It does.
Every single play.
And it's not even hidden very well.
No,
that takes them down.
If you watch, their whole offensive line holds, and every good offensive lineman will do that. They grab you inside the pads and they hold. And if you keep your hands in there and keep the guy going forward, they're not going to usually call the offensive line on that.
Yeah.
But this guy holds all the time, and there's times it's just egregious. And I'm going. Now they did call him in the game against the neighbors. They called him twice out on it. But the guy, he holds every play, and he's kind of a dirty player. Like he's taking cheap shots after the play. If you watch him, and I'm not a fan of that guy at all.
Yeah.
And just the way he plays, I don't agree with it. But the whole offensive line as a whole really holds a lot. Now, one thing I noticed watching these guys a lot, if your defensive line does a lot of stunts, these guys don't do well against that. And that's one thing that we're good at is stemming before the play, moving around, and then doing stunts. We're pulling. When I say a stunt, that's like where Gubbs might pull around and go to the outside, and then Wilson might come in the center, or Harris might come around, or that we're stunting the line back and forth. And that's the one thing I noticed watching their offensive line is that when other teams did stunts, they seem to struggle more.
Yeah.
Because they're wanting to be so aggressive and going after everybody. And so I think the more stunts that we do and things like that and confusion, it might help confuse them and allow us to, get through there and get to especially on pass plays, get to the quarterback. But it also might screw up their run game too, because they're so used to doubling up on people. And if we're able to sneak around because of our speed and stuff, that could throw a wrench in their run game too.
Well, and I think that, those people that watched the game, they saw we got Henry Noose back against the Furman game. And we were running a lot of the 4-2, even without even a down linebacker. We had Noose and Gubner in there. So I think we might do a lot of more of those stunts with Gubner and Noose as well.
I think we're going to. And then the other thing I said, if we have to have good use of our hands. because of the fact that they're going to try to hold us.
Yep.
D line and D ends and linebackers, you have to use their hands real well to slap their hands down. But if we do that, like that's one thing the neighbors did well on is they were using their hands good and getting them down. And I think our defensive line's better than the neighbors. And I think that our guys are more talented where they can do that. And if we can do that, we're going to make that offensive line's day not very fun. And if you make it that way, they'll start getting after each other, and it's going to be a long day for them. So that's really what we have to do.
Well, and I just think that the getting off blocks too, like this is a team where if you do not get off blocks very well, it's going to be a long day, right? You're going to be, they're going to hold you. They're going to, do what they can to get that running lane where it's one-on-one and you're done.
Well, and that's the key. You just said get off those blocks.
Yeah.
If we can get off, that's going to show the holding. Like if we can get off of there, if you just sit there, they're going to hold you all day and they're never going to call it because it looks like they're just blocking you real well. Yep. So we're going to have lots of movement. Like you say, get off because that's when you'll see that hold. And it's so egregious that they're going to start calling them on it.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
The other thing that this offensive line does is pulls a lot. One of their favorite plays is they're actually going to run counter to one side, and they try to get the whole defense to wash that way, and then they got the wide receiver coming back the other direction.
Yep.
Everybody's committed this way. So our linebackers are going to have to do a great job because usually you key like the guards and stuff and watch them pull over, and you're like, okay, the ball's going that way, and then all of a sudden they got to go in the other direction. So they run some of this misdirection stuff. Now the Cats did that a lot too.
Yeah, they did.
So I think that's going to help prepare us for that. And so we just have to make sure that we stay home. Again, we've said this a bunch. Do your 111th, do your job. Don't get caught up on, I think it's this when you know your job is to stay here. So if our guys do their job, I think we're gonna be fine and help keep the running backs contained, the wide receivers playing running back contained, and all that.
Well, and you really can't look at this, but like you look at the neighbor game not this year, but last year, we got killed, right? Yeah. And just how better we played against them this year. I think that the defensive strategy that we have this year is just way better in how it's being implemented. That this team that beat us by, what was it like? Wasn't it like 21 points last year?
Yeah,
it was close till the third quarter until we got.
That's what I was just going to say that this team last year, we were there at halftime.
Yeah.
In Fargo, and we were in much worse shape last year. Like we were. I mean, we were just oh my goodness. And so we're in much better shape this year, much healthier. And they're playing, and we're at home. I mean, the things, the stars are aligning for us, and we've been wanting these guys. And so I feel like we're going to be ready for them. Yep. It's going to be a tough game. I'm not at all saying,
it's not going to be easy.
Beat them by 50 or something. I know we can win, but we have to play our best game. Do our assignments, especially on the defensive side of the ball. We just got to do our jobs, and
this team doesn't beat themselves.
Yeah,
a championship caliber team, they don't beat themselves. You're gonna have to play your best. So
yeah, well, and so like another thing when I was watching them, you're talking about that QB number 9 Cole Payton, his running game. A lot of times I noticed too, the teams that blitz them really disrupt them. It can help disrupt the run, the QB run game too. But the key is when we're blitzing, we still have to contain that pocket because where they've hurt teams though is when you're blitzing and you're running man, and all of a sudden the QB gets out and there's just nowhere in the center, and they're getting this huge gain. Yep. So we're gonna have to have one high safety or even 2 helping out there. But I still think by blitzing we could really cause some havoc back there. And then again, like you said, get them behind the chains, and that just throws off their whole game plan and how that they like to, dominate the game is staying ahead of those chains and, just keep it rolling like that. And if we can disrupt that, man, our defense can have a good day.
Yeah, I definitely think so as well. Let's look at their defense. Like we said earlier, 21 interceptions, 36 sacks, 75 tackles for loss. Their leading tackler is Cole Wisniewski, 80 tackles. He's got 2 tackles for loss. He's the interception leader, 8 interceptions. Always seems like he's, knows where the ball is, right? He just has a knack for knowing where the ball is. Mm-hmm. Logan Kopp, 78 tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss, 3 interceptions, and 1 fumble recovery or forced fumble. They've got Sam Jung, 63 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 3 interceptions. But the guys that I'm kind of looking at are Dylan Hendrickson, right?
Numbers.
I believe he's 95. I believe he's their defensive line.
Yeah,
he just came back.
He's one that I have starred.
Yeah, he just came back from injury and kind of solidified that defense a little bit. He's only got 40 tackles, but 10 and a half tackles for loss, 6.5 sacks. He's that enforcer in that defense. So
here's my notes from him from watching him. I was like, this guy keeps great contain and is an extremely tough player. Like, this guy is super tough.
Oh, he is.
I wrote, lives in the backfield. Like, he blows up your line and is in the backfield all the time. Like, this dude.
He reminds me of Governor and how he does that. He's just there, and he's always there.
He's their Gubs.
Yeah.
He is a dude, and he's a force to be reckoned with that we have to pay attention to. Like, we need to contain this guy.
And just to think that this guy, he's just now 100%, and he's been playing hurt, and I don't know how many games he's played, but from the sounds of it, he's been kind of injured a lot of the season, and this has gotten kind of healthy.
He doesn't look injured anymore. Like,
no, he does not.
He looks full go, and he's dangerous. So we gotta contain that guy.
And then the other guy that has a lot of the sacks as well is that Jake. I'm going to say his last name, Cava.
Cava.
Yeah,
54, number 54.
Yep. 13 tackles for loss, 7 sacks as well, 45 tackles on the year. Those are the 2 guys that have a lot of the sacks. But man, they're good defense.
Yeah, that guy 54 too. I was like, my notes on him after watching him play a bunch, I was like, he's a great run stopper. He's great at stopping the run. The other thing he does really well is he sets the edge. He stays home. He never overcommits. He does his job and sets the edge super well. Now, with that being said, we can use that. I mean, we're going to watch that when Cliff and Eli are running plays. That's what they're looking for, is what's he going to do, and then we do the opposite sort of thing. So there's opportunity for us. But that 54, I mean, I just wrote down really good. Like, between him and 95, they were the 2 that really jumped off the page.
Oh yeah.
Before 43 is supposed to be pretty good too. Cap.
Cop,
Cop. But he doesn't jump off the page quite as like these 2. Like, these 2 guys, I was just, and maybe it's because I really pay attention to the lines, all the time.
No, they jumped off to me as well. Okay. That's why I kind of said it. Like, they definitely, who they are.
they're the different makers, and those 2 are the 2. If we can stop 95 and 54 and contain those 2 guys, we're going to have a pretty damn good day.
Exactly.
But those 2, they're good. And what they like to do too, like we do, that D line, is stem around a bunch. They like to jump around to try to confuse you where they're going to be. And so, like, right before the snap goes, you think they're here, boom, they're going to jump over here, and they're quick. They got good, quick twitch. They're really good defenders. So we got to take care of that. And the other thing that I noticed is they will do corner blitz. Number 20's got a few sacks where, especially on your blind side, they're going to send him. He tries to time it, and he's good at it. So that's another one we're going to have to watch out. Our backs and stuff we're going to have to watch. Or if, like, Cliff sees it, that's when you run the hot route. I mean, it's open right there, but you got to see it because he's quick. So another thing we got to watch out for.
Yeah, this defense, it's not like North Dakota State's defense where I feel like the middle is not something that they're strong in. Like, their linebackers core is not necessarily the strong point. It's more the defensive line, and they're intercepting a lot of passes because I think they're getting a lot of pressure from that defensive line. So I think the middle is something where we can kind of take advantage of with our run with McDowell, kind of like what we did against Furman, right? We couldn't get the run going, but man, McDowell just ran through the middle and had those big runs. If we can get McDowell going and then get Eli Gilman going in the middle, I think that's going to open up everything else as well.
So we didn't talk about this before.
No, we didn't.
I was like, I wrote, okay. So that was the one thing watching them. I was like, okay, if I think Cliff running the ball is going to be huge, especially Cliff running in the A gap. Or like running counter. I think that should work well too, because we get that movement, and that center of the field is where it's open generally. So I think our QB run game with Cliff could be the X factor. I've said this to a few different people. He reminds me of like our version of Cam Newton in a way when Auburn. That's what Cliff, because he's such a big player and a force. When he gets to running, people can't stop him.
No.
And 54-95, they mainly play the edge is where we're seeing them on the D line. So that center of the D line is where we could possibly take advantage of them. We could run double teams and get Cliff to go. Yeah. So, and then again, Eli too. Like I think Eli and Osmo, it's that up, not so much the side because they're really good at containing the outsides, but I think it's that A gap run game, which is what North Dakota State is notorious for. I think we could beat them at their own game, beat them with that A gap run game. So
that just kind of like threw me out there because their linebackers are usually really good, and this year, they're good, but they're not as good as they used to be. So, something.
And then like in their DBs, like the one thing I noticed too, like NDSU will move into this like one high safety look, and when they do that, the center of the field's wide open, like it is wide open, and like Fonts, White, Bergen, like those routes that we're running, we could be wide ass open. I mean, I think passing game too. So if we can establish that run and get them to really start committing the box, and they're going to run that one high safety, man, we can hit them over the top for big plays. And again, beat them at their own game, beat them with the big play and stuff. I think
exactly.
I feel like we could do that. I think there's holes. I mean, they're a really good stout team.
Yep.
But there is places that we could expose and beat them and win this game.
I definitely agree. So, any last thoughts on their defense, Luke?
Like I said, they're damn good. We got to watch for that one high safety look. If they give us that, I think hopefully run an RPO or we can check off and burn them on it, because when they give us that pass over the middle is going to be open. But they're that bend but don't break defense. They're going to give you stuff, but they're that's their kind of mantra is this: bend but don't break. So
they kind of remind me of us in a little effect, kind of like where we kind of bend don't break. I think we're a little bit more better this year than we were last year. Last year we were really bend don't break. I think that it kind of gets you excited. Not to say that the NDSU, we're confident in that we can beat them or anything like that, but it just looks like, hey, there's some things, especially going from that Furman game where our wide receivers were, blowing past Furman's DBs, something that didn't get taken advantage of.
No, we missed them. I mean, there was places guys were wide open that we could have did touchdowns, and I made the wrong read, which is fixable, which I think can be fixed. And if we see that this week, oh man.
It's just one of the things that it's going to be kind of key is just how our offensive line kind of handles it, right? That's the area that kind of just alarms me a little bit, just because with who we have and up to this point, we've been pretty healthy, which is a nice thing to have. But you just don't know how that's going to affect us. So
yeah, I don't. And then we talked about the splits. I'll be interested to see, because I think we're going to go back to those bigger splits.
Yeah. And
we'll do that until we see what North Dakota State decides to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think where I think it could help us is by doing those, it's going to move 54-95 out farther.
Yep.
Really going to help us with that A gap run game, I think.
Yeah.
And so like my I'm just going to talk about this. My keys to the game on offense is like putting that A gap run game and then watch them for that one high safety look. If they give us those two things, I think those are the two things we can expose.
Yep.
Help us move the ball and score, and possibly like beat them at their own game, get those big plays. Which if we can get them playing from behind, and again on defense, if we can get through the quarterback and contain him and get them not getting those big plays and stop their run game where they're playing behind the chains, that's the key to win. And then on special teams, taking advantage when we stop them, make a punt, flipping the field where Bergen's doing his Bergen thing and everybody's tweeting out there Junior effing Bergen because he's
Bergen time.
Yeah, exactly. So those are my keys. What do you got?
Really, I've got 4 of them. So control the line, right? It starts there, and that means both ends. I think that defensively, I think that we can take advantage of their offensive line, and then offensively, I think we need to make sure that we protect the quarterback and truly use our running game, and then, like you said, expose their safeties and expose their DBs as well.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot turn over the ball.
No.
This, especially when passing, this team likes to turn over the ball. They're really good at interceptions this year, 21 leading the nation. We can't kill ourselves that way.
And Clifton's been good at protecting the ball. That pick that he threw this last game, him and Bergen were not on the same page.
No, it was a double.
Clifton thought he was running into the flat, and Bergen was running it up the field, I think.
Yeah.
And so whoever, I'm not sure who was right, who was wrong, but they both weren't on the same page, and that's what caused that pick. That guy really didn't jump that route. Actually, Bergen faked the hell out of him. He ran a great route.
Yeah.
And faked him, and the guy went back, but Clifton he threw the flat because he thought Bergen was going to be cut back to the flat. So I don't know if Bergen faked them both out, but that's what happened. Otherwise, I mean, Cliff has been doing a great job protecting the ball.
He has.
And not making this. I mean, like when you see him throw it away, it's because he's being smart.
Yeah.
Like I know certain fans, like I'm sure they're going, throw it, come on. No, he's being smart with the ball, and if it's not there, he's not going to throw it. So that's going to benefit us a lot because Clifton usually is really smart with the football.
Exactly. My next one is win on third down. So to be able to win on third down, you've got to do the dirty work in the first and second. And we've said this already, guys. They don't like third and long. And so if you guys if we can get them in a third and long situation and do the dirty work on the first and second down, that's going to pay dividends for us, and it's going to probably get us some turnovers as well, where they're going to make those mistakes on those third and longs. And then just make that third down long, get into their head, make sure that quarterback, Miller, really does not want to play. Right. Yeah. And we've done that with a couple of guys, and let's make sure that we kind of test the strengthness and the tenacity of his consciousness, right. Yeah. Of how he's going to play.
If we can hit him some more and take the football out of him.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That could make this game flip big time.
Big and fast. Real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So those are my keys of the game. Yeah. This game's going to be interesting. I'm excited for it.
in my opinion, watching them, this is the best football team we've played all year. Like I think this is going to be the best team that we've played. Okay, they had their flubs early in the year. We did too against NDSU, but they're playing their best football. I feel like we're close to playing our best football.
Mm-hmm.
And this could be just like a battle royale this weekend. I mean, I think this is going to be some special football that we're going to get to watch.
Exactly. Grizz Nation, make sure, I know tickets are available, so make sure that if you have season tickets, make sure you get them. And then if you can't make it, give them to someone that's a Grizz fan. Because we don't want those getting out to the public because I think they're releasing them. Isn't it here in a couple days where they're going to be releasing to everybody?
Yeah, I looked it up. Wednesday they'll release them to everybody. So if you're a season ticket holder, you have the chance to buy them right now. And there's a big push where if you can't use them, buy them. There's a bunch of people that are already posting on like the Montana Grizzly fan pages on Twitter that are asking for tickets. So if you're a season ticket holder and for some reason you can't go to this game, buy your tickets and sell them to these people, or just work it out with them. Be like, I'll get my tickets. You can have them. There's already people posting, because what we want is to get as many Grizz fans packed in there as possible. So what we don't want happening, because the tickets are pretty inexpensive, $35 a piece. This is the crap that happened last week with the Bison. I mean, shame on USD for their password being playoff. I mean, come on. Anybody can figure that out. What they did is they bought a bunch of tickets, even though they couldn't go, so that other USD fans couldn't buy and help keep their stadium empty. And they already put a thing out there. These Bison fans going, let's do the same thing to the Grizz. Even if you can't go, buy tickets so their stadium's empty. Well, at let's not let that happen.
No.
We have 19,000 season ticket holders around there.
Yep.
Buy those tickets, sell them to other Grizz fans.
Yep.
Don't let any Bison come. And then if you can't, let's say, or get a season ticket holder, pretend this is the biggest rock concert you've ever want to go to. Be on your computer ready to click and get tickets as fast as you can when they go on sale on Wednesday.
Exactly.
So that we're filling that stadium and not a bunch of freaking Bison fans.
Exactly. Yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know about that because it's important. You can kind of see the players as well. I know Braxton Hill. I know Janicaro.
Arrow's tweeting about it. Yeah.
Just get your tickets, man. It does definitely help. If you have this is going to be an ESPN2 game, so it's another game where we're going to have the spotlight. There's no other football going on. This is going to be a spotlight game for the university, for our football current program. Let's make sure we have a maroon out where all you see is maroon. You might see a couple of yellow or green specks, but it's loud, and that's something where I think it could affect that offensive line, right?
Well, I think
just the loudness of it, and I think that could affect it.
So this year, their crowds have been down. Like they're not selling the Fargo Dome out, and so kind of like the last time they were here, I was there, and that place was rocking. We had Musburger up there, and Jesse.
Wouldn't it be sweet if he was there?
Man, I was Musburger both back to call this
game.
It deserves it. That would be awesome. All the smoke, everything, but we had so many Grizz fans. There were some Bison fans there, but it was just you'd see a yellow here, a green there. It was mainly Grizz fans, and that place was rocking.
Yeah,
scored that last touchdown. I was sitting in the south ends and running boom. That place was so freaking loud. It was going nuts. That's what we need again. We need that super loud. I mean, we've been getting 20,000. Let's break a record again.
Yeah,
let's get everybody there. It's a Saturday game. If you're coming from Ekalaka or Sydney or Havre or Glasgow,
Glendive,
there, Eureka, everybody, Wisdom, get down there. Go to the freaking game. Let's do it. If you're from out of state, all those Spokane Grizz fans, come across to Spokane. Let's get you over there. I mean, everybody, all of you out of northern Idaho, those people. I mean, ex-players, everybody go.
Let's go.
Everybody need everybody there. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be a good one. You want to do predictions now and then go into fan questions? Or you want to update on the bracket?
Let's do predictions first.
Okay.
Then I'll do the bracket, and then we can go into questions.
All right. I'll go first. So I think this is going to be a close game. I say 28-24 Grizz.
Holy shit.
What?
I have the same score.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I have the same exact score.
Oh my gosh, that's never happened.
Yeah, I've had it written down all day. So, again, the Versus app has us ranked at 2 now. They moved us up after our Furman win. But Versus has the Grizz losing 24-28.
Really?
And so I actually wrote my score down before I looked at Versus or anything. I was looking at all their scores and wrote down Grizz 28-24. And it's the opposite of theirs. That's the only thing I told you. I go flip-flop. I cannot believe you did that. So if you can see
that's crazy. And I don't have the Versus app, and I have not looked. I wrote it down. I told Luke that I'm like, I better go first because I just wrote mine down before we got on the pod. So wow.
28-24. We're both in the same wavelength. I mean, that's so to speak to that, Montana Sportsbook came out. I've seen 2 different ones. One of them had Bison favored by 0.5 point. Another one has them favored by 1.5. And then the over-under is 49.5.
Oh, okay.
So we're right there too.
Huh.
I always like to take the over in college football. So
I do too, yeah.
I do. I think it's gonna be a really close game. Not really high scoring because of the defenses and stuff. I mean, of course, we could be way off, and it could be like 49-48 or some shit like that. But I don't think it's going to be like that. The other thing, too, that I think is an advantage for us, the Bison don't play outside.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they're from Fargo, North Dakota. It's cold as hell there all the time, but they play in the nice confines of the Fargo Dome.
And don't they have a practice facility as well?
They do.
Yeah,
I mean, they got all the nicest stuff.
Yeah.
But here it's going to be outside. Now it's not going to be super cold. I think it's supposed to be like in the 30s, low 30s for the game and stuff. And it's not supposed to snow, but hey, it could.
It could,
but
yeah.
They're not used to playing outside either. So there is a bunch of kids on their team from North Dakota who are used to playing in the cold, but at the same time, they got a bunch of kids from down south and all over the place that don't play outside, practice outside, and all that.
Yep.
This whole week they're practicing inside the Fargo Dome. So that's going to help us. The noise, the environment of Grizz, that place is going to be just bumping. Oh, it's going to be a scene. It's going to be.
Can't wait, man. Can't wait.
Okay, so let me get into my FCS Fight on Montana bracket challenge.
There we go.
Thank you for everybody for playing. So this week in the quarterfinal round, we had 3 people that got all the games right. Only 3. There was a lot that only had 2 right, like including myself. Like there was.
I probably got only 2 right as well.
Yeah, you too. A lot of us had like the Grizz and South Dakota State. It was the other 2 games that people didn't get right. But the 3 people that had correct answers for quarterfinals were Mark Robertson had all 4 games right.
Nice
Sam
job,
Whitehead had all 4 games right.
Nice.
And Sheridan Jones had all 4 games right.
Sheridan Jones?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. So, surprise, surprise, they're all right there in close to the top. So,
okay.
In first place with 66 overall points right now, we have Mark Robertson. In second place with 65, 1 point behind, we have Sam Whitehead. And in third place is Shane Eddington.
Okay.
He got 3 out of the 4 this week, but he had a perfect bracket the week before and 7 right the first round. So he's been doing well each round. And in fourth, I'll just tell fourth since they want to know. He had 66, 65, 63. Well, in fourth, Sheridan Jones has 62. And I want to say, Jake Orvis also has 62. So they're just right there. So we still are really close.
Neck and neck.
Again, semifinals, each correct answers were 16 points for a total of 32. And then, of course, your national championship winner pick, if you get that correct, is 32 points. So that could be the big one that pushes people over or brings someone back from the
dead.
You never know. This won't be over until after January 7th, whenever the national championship, but whenever that is, because as much as I'd like to say everybody picked the Grizz, not everybody picked the Grizz.
No.
So we did have a few that picked other teams.
Yeah. So, hey, well, we so appreciate you playing. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It makes it fun. I do enjoy going through on Sunday mornings and adding up the brackets and just seeing how everybody is and stuff. Seeing them. So appreciate everybody playing.
Awesome. And thank you, Luke. That's a lot of time, a lot of effort. And we thank you for that, buddy. Let's go into some fan questions. So guys, we can't thank you enough. Like, honestly, we love talking Grizz sports and we look forward to this every Monday. But we also just love interacting with you guys. We get to do this and we get to interact with each other. But we love interacting with other Grizz fans as well. So thank you for reaching out to us on Twitter. And also we have some questions on eGrizz as well. So I know, Luke, you've got some on Twitter. I've got some on Twitter and also on eGrizz as well. But yeah, guys, thank you again. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast as well. Some of you have been giving us those 5-star reviews, which we really, really appreciate as well. So great stuff there. You want to go first, Luke, and say your first question?
Sure. Yeah, let me jump over to this real quick. So this one comes from Tyler Martin. He asked, what do we think the team needs are as far as recruiting, and what positions do you think will recruit in the portal once the season's over? So it's kind of hard to answer this question now that we're still in the season, but we do know certain people are graduating. And I'm hoping that, unlike some of our counterparts in Idaho and the neighbors that are seeing a bunch, and Furman for that too, a bunch of people leave. I'm hoping we can keep them around. And one thing I want to get into this real quick. Adam looked this up. So the transfer closes January 4th. So one way we can keep guys around is by keep winning. If we're going to play in the national championship on January 7th, you're not going to see. I mean, we saw Iverson leave, but he was not playing in a freshman, and who knows why he left. But everybody who's playing right now, they want to win a national championship. That's why you play football, is to win championships. We're not going to see anybody bail if we keep winning. So one key is to keep winning every weekend. Now, the other key behind that is these NILs. You know, it's going to be hard for us to compete with the big boys. Like,
Oregon, Washington.
Yeah, if Texas comes and is like, we want Junior Bergen, well, I mean, and they're going to offer him $100,000 and a free car and a house. I mean, that's hard to pass that stuff up. But those, you know, we're never going to we shouldn't be out by some MAC school or some Mountain West school, things like that. That should never happen, or another FCS school. And so one thing is like Marcus, and we talked to Weedia before, is running the NIL, this new collective. We got to start funding that, because that's going to help us. All that stuff, all that money is going to help keep our players here and allow us to beat out those schools. And then who knows, maybe we'll start getting guys that might be entering the portal from the Mountain West schools going, hey, it sucks playing at Reno. It sucks playing at New Mexico where I don't win and there's no one to play in front of. I saw the Grizz on ESPN. That crowd's nuts. They're in those cool-ass black jerseys. They're winning all the time. I want to go play there. And so we could start seeing people like that. Guys like Riley Wilson coming over, or the Hawaiian cat, I can't remember his last name, came from Mississippi State coming over.
Matafa, I can't remember say it, something. Yeah, and I actually saw him play a little bit this last weekend. So.
We got Ford, Walker coming over from Nebraska. I mean, that stuff could really be helpful. And so to answer Tyler's question on that is like, we need to shore up our NIL so that we can, you know, do that. But then I think positions we're going to need, we got to replace Gubbs.
That was one of my first
ones. That is like one of my big ones. Is like, what are we going to do there? Gubbs is such a force. You can't replace a guy like Gubbs.
No.
But we're lacking some of that size in the D line. And so I think if we could find someone in the portal, a big guy to help, you know, fill that spot, you know, just with size and stuff, or have someone experienced get in there, because D line's been one of those things I think all year that we've been short on because of injuries and other things. It's nice to get Noose back finally, and you know, we're getting some guys back, but that's a position I think we need to focus on in the recruiting period. And then, you know, too, we can get some more DBs and stuff, and then we got a lot of linebackers graduating, but I'm not that worried about it because it always seems like our young guys just step up. And Wilson's going to be there for a while. I mean, losing Janet Karen Hill is going to be tough, but you know.
Well, that's what we always said against when we got O'Connell or Lewis, or you know, and so like I'm not too worried about the linebackers, just because I see those guys that are on the special teams that they're putting the time in. Like I totally think I agree with you, Gubbs, finding a replacement for Gubbs, even finding another guy, because I think what they want to do is they want to go to that 4-2. I would think where they can play that and have two guys.
Yeah, we've been running that 4-man front all year. It's a 3-5 with a 4-2, and I like it. It works well with the speed we get off the edge. And so, but having someone to spell, like, thank God Gubbs is so healthy and playing so well, because he doesn't get spelled that often. You know, we have
he was tired at the end of that game, that Furman game. Like he was tired.
Dude,
he's amazing.
That dude is freaking. I mean, he's my favorite player out there right now. He is just killing it. And I mean,
I also think that we get like another cornerback as well. You know, we're losing Walker this year. Gradney, I still think has another year, and then Jackson, I think, is going to be there as well. But you never know where they move Jackson, just because he's played safety at Akron. That you might see with Cotton leaving, that they might put him back there in that position where Cotton is, and then they might be needing another guy for that cornerback position. At every other position, I would say making sure we get a couple offensive linemen to kind of fulfill, you know, losing Walker and losing McGinnis and losing Forbes.
We have a lot of good young guys coming up.
We do.
Like, we do. Our scout team is awesome and like
amazing.
And So we're finally, I mean, that's really good.
But you kind of want to replenish that, and you get those guys in there, get a big heavy, 8-10 deep, where because that's the knock on wood, we've been pretty healthy with that area, and
it's nice to have depth though especially on the offensive line. Where thank goodness we got Cannon because he's been plug and play across the offensive line. So
yep. Other than that, I the safety position, we have so many guys there in the safety role, but you just don't know what you have until you start playing those guys.
And again, I think it'll be easy. That's so with Tyler's question, I think for when the season's over too, we'll dive way more into that and stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Then we'll kind of know who's staying, who's going, I do have a little breaking news.
What?
So no, good. Frank Gagola just posted this, and I knew some of this was to start coming out. So 6 Montana football players earned All-American honors for FCS Football Central. Wow. So Eli Gilman for running back.
Wow.
First team D-line, Alex Gubner.
There we go.
Mr. Gubbs. Second team, linebacker Braxton Hill for all and then for all-purpose player, Junior Bergen, All-American honors. Third team, Riley Wilson and Trevin Gradney.
Wow. Good job, guys.
And so I messed up on Eli's. His was freshman of the year, All-American year honors for running back Eli Gilman. So that's one of the first All-American lists. Frank just posted that. It came out just a little bit ago. So
that's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Another question here on Twitter, guys. Mandy Taylor. I'm super curious about our offensive line situation right now. Was looking a little different last night. I think it will be back to close to normal by Saturday. I think we kind of went over this that just because based off of what they were playing and with the split kind of thing, we were kind of trying to do a little bit different things with what they were trying to throw at us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we kind of went over it, Luke, that I think we go back to what got us there, and you can kind of probably see the larger splits until North Dakota State kind of does something different.
We'll have to see what they play with that and stuff. And then I think some of her part of her question is, are we going to get Walker and Liam back? And last week, Riley said that they were both dressed, and I think we saw Walker play a little bit, but we know they're trying to get back in there. Don't know if they're healthy enough to go. So I'm hoping because it'd be nice. So we'll see. But I think we're gonna have to adjust to whatever North Dakota State's given us for sure.
Exactly. Well, and I think that just that tackle position with Walker, if he's not ready to go, you got to put somebody in there that's 100%. That you're going to be able to protect that tackle position.
And then you use Walker as the guy that spills you, gives him a break and stuff.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So, do you have Jay Larson's, or you want me to go with that?
No, I don't have his.
Okay, so Jay Larson said, "I would love to hear y'all's take on NDSU and how they get away with holding, and how we counteract that on defense. Because if our line holds, it is called. So what? Yeah. So we talked about this. 74 is a big cheater. Every play, all the time. Like I watched him constantly. It's just like that guy holds every play.
Yeah.
The key is going to be our defensive line and linebackers using their hands and getting off their blocks. Because if you get around them, that's when you expose that holding, and it's obvious. And the refs have been calling it on them because I think they're known as holders. They're going to be watching for it.
Well, it's something that I think that maybe does Bobby go and say, hey, so what do you guys, how are you guys calling it? How do you, make sure you're watching this? We see
that's
this.
What I was going to say. He's chirping in their ears. Like, if you watch, Bobby's talking to those refs all the time. Like, hey, there's times like I saw him on the Furman game. He's chuckling with them, kind of buttering them up a little bit sometimes. Yep. And then there's other times he's ripping their head off. So, but you're going to be talking, and they talk to them before the games. And I know that they'll be like, hey, you watch that holding today because they're holding all the time.
Yeah,
I'd be saying that to them because
I would be too.
So The key is though that hand movement for us and getting them hands off of them and not allowing them to lock in the center of your chest. If they do that, we're screwed. So we got to get off of that so we can expose that holding.
Yeah, I totally agree. Kiddo's dad at Cristo Caprio. The Furman front seven were fantastic and they played amazing. I totally agree with that.
Yep.
Can the Grizz O-line return starters? If not, how will they stack up against NDSU? We kind of went over that. If they don't return starters, I think we played a lot of the game against Furman where we didn't have those guys. And so I think we'll play – we'll have the guys that we need, and I think we'll be okay. No sliding into NDSU. I don't think NDSU's front is as good as Furman's. I think Furman's front four were amazing, and I don't think we're gonna see that from NDSU. We've gone over this. Where there's two guys that we kind of have to worry about, the ends, 95 and I think 54.
Yep, that's the two.
So. Those are the guys that we kind of have to look out for. And one of them is going to be on the one side where we have all of our guys, and one is not. So kind of mix and match.
That run gap, a gap game is going to be really good for us.
I think so too.
So another question, it's really similar to this one, so I'm going to ask it. Griff Richards asked, he said, what would you consider the cause for lack of offensive production by the Grizz last game? Is this just the Grizz dealing with the very good and quick defensive Ferman, or did Ferman expose something about the Grizz offense, or did the Grizz possibly look past Ferman a bit, or maybe a combination? So I think part of it was our offensive line being hurt. They were going for our young guys. And then two, I mean, they just had a damn good defensive line that were stuffing the run on us. But one thing that did work was Clifton's run game was working well, and the pass game was open. And so we talked a little bit about this. Some of it was us being stubborn and running the same stupid plays over and over again too, a little bit. And so I do also think that there is a possibility that we were looking past them a little bit, or going, kind of like when we played NAU and we were such big favorites and we just thought this, and because I thought that last week, I was like, Furman, come on, they play in the SoCon. I didn't see them. I mean, they were damn good football team.
They were.
It's possible I know this whole team is dying to play the Bison because we want revenge on it because it's been the revenge tour all year. And so it's possible we look past a little bit and then we're like, oh crap. And so the great thing is we pulled it off. We won. We have this week to correct those things. That there's a lot of corrections that need to happen. And already I've been hearing that the guys are having a great week of practice on Monday, bouncing around good. They got an extra day of rest this week because we played the Friday game. That's the one bonus of that. So I think we're going to be right back on schedule and super hyper focused on this because they're going to talk about it. Yeah. You win this game, you're going to the national championship for an opportunity to win the national championship. So we need to focus in, take care of business, and then our goal is right in front of us.
Yeah, I think, I totally agree with you, Luke. I think that it was kind of a depending on what you look at. Like you look at where we're at, it was a situation of kind of everything kind of hitting at once. It was, oh crap, we're actually really close. So, everybody is a creature of habit. So what are you going to do when time gets tough? What are you going to rely back on? It's probably something that you feel comfortable with, right?
Mm-hmm.
So our play calling, I don't know if that was head coach or offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I just think that kind of relied back on that.
I think some of it is they were just trying to run the clock out. And they're like, let's just run the clock out.
And that just pissed me off so much. It's like, how many times can you give the opposing offense the ball back without it biting you in the butt? And so don't try to rely on your defense so much where it kills them in the end and runs them in the dirt. I think that we need to get away from that. We did with the last couple of games and where we went from NAU to where we are at now. The last game, we kind of went back to that, which I don't think we will. I think this is the scenario.
You said this earlier. If we play them like we did the neighbors, I think that's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. So, Terrence Spector. It seemed like a big mistake for Furman to defer the first possession in overtime, especially the way the game had gone. Do you think Montana would have elected to also go first on offense if they won the toss? I think we talked about that.
We talked
right?
about that a little bit, where you kind of thought that, and I mean, I think you always go on defense. You can see no matter what the other team does, just then I mean, even if your defense is kind of tired, it feels that way. So, but it's a great question because you never know in the moment, So,
well, just going from where they were, they got that big touchdown. I think you might try it then, depending on the situation. That offense just scored. You don't want to give them the ball back and feel that confidence. You sit them down, get them a little tight, thinking about it. I don't think that this coaching staff would do that. But hey, I think it would be a good idea. So, you got any more on Twitter?
I got two more. So one is Corbo at Corbo's N406. It just says strengths and weaknesses NDSU. We already talked about that. So just wanted to give you a shout out thanks for asking a question.
Exactly.
And then Ross Flatiger at Flatiger R. So did Grizz secondary get exposed? Got reminders of last year's Cat Grizz on over blitz early in game. Just paranoid because of a good FU team. I'm confused if we played a really good team and or we played half-ass even though our D was mostly lights out. And then he goes, are we Frisco bound? I don't think our secondary got exposed. I think it was just a few mistakes is really what happened. I mean, for the most part, they were playing really good and playing good coverage. And there was even a couple like PIs that we got that I thought were BS. Like I thought we were just playing tight coverage and they threw the flag. There were some others too, like that we didn't get called on that we probably should have. So it went both ways. I'm one that in the playoffs, let the secondary play. If it's not egregious, they're kind of both hand fighting, let them play. If it's egregious, like or they're not looking at the ball and they just run somebody over, throw the flag. But I don't think we were exposed. I really do think that Tim, Hauk, and Ronnie are coming up with some great schemes for the passing game, and we'll be ready because as much as NDSU likes to run the ball, they're good at passing it. Cam Miller's a good thrower. He's efficient. And again, their whole passing game is upon getting ahead of the chains with the run game on the first and second down. So if we can stop that, that's going to change their whole normal passing game up. So as far as Frisco bound,
I don't know, man.
Got to take care of business this weekend.
1 week at a time. Can't think about that.
That's what's got to happen. We just got, if the D can play like they've been playing. I mean, they played awesome last weekend. Do it again and stop the big plays. It's key. Stopping the big plays. We do that, man, anything's possible.
Man. I got a couple here on Grizz. Putter at Grizz here. What was causing our inability to run? Was Ferman taking advantage of the wide splits, or were they just good? I think it was kind of both of those. They were good. We said that they kind of took advantage of the splits as well. They were fast. They were taking advantage of some of our new guys that were on the line. And then also just I think that they just knew what we were going to do. Like you can only run the same thing so many times and not like take advantage of it and see what and them not to know of, first down. What are you going to do? They're going to probably run it inside.
And I heard this that I don't know how true it is, but I've seen some
sign stealing.
Yeah, they know that they were. And if we were calling our plays out, knew what our plays were. So if that's the case, if anybody's good at sign stealing, it's probably the Bison. We're gonna have to change some stuff up. And I don't know if it was like we changed some stuff up. We're still running old signs that Roper recognized, or I mean, who knows? But I noticed that they were worried about it because they had those big flag guys and all that stuff. And so, if that's the case, especially if there's, I don't know if the Bison have any ties to Furman, they're probably calling them, going, "Hey, will you give us what you guys figured out there?" We need to change some stuff up this week so they're not stealing those signs. If that's the case, So.
Did you have one more?
I did not.
Okay.
I do have something that I heard on. I'll just talk about it. So Coach Answino is all leaving to USC.
Yeah.
To be a linebacker coach. And so I did listen to an interview today from one of the reporters up there in North Dakota State, and it kind of sounds like they didn't want this to get out. It did by because the media the way it is now, and so he had to tell the team. There's a lot of people that are really surprised, and I guess because they're like, there's not a lot of ties for him to USC. They think part of the reason is because they're going to the Big Ten, that Entz recruits that same area, and that might help. And he's going to get paid. So I'm hoping that even though they're going to let him coach, that was one of the big questions I had right away. Will he be, out? They're going to let him coach the rest of the time, but his head's going like this, and that can split a team. Now, North Dakota State doesn't seem like the kind of team that's going to split, or like that. But at the same time, if he's like, you guys need to do this and this during the game, you can get what the hell you're leaving us anyways? What do you so it's definitely going to have an effect. As much as we like to say it wouldn't, it's a distraction. And I say, yay for us to have that distraction coming into this.
Yeah. Well, and I know I don't think that it's going to affect us too much, just because NDSU is so strategic, right? And what they do. I'm pretty sure they're going to hire within, because that's what they do, is they hire within. And I think that probably already has been.
It could have. There's also rumors that Deegan's on the line, possibly for ties, but who knows? But
I'm thinking that if they already knew this was going to happen and they didn't want it out, I think they probably already have who they want already.
No, that's not what I'm saying. They said that Entz didn't want it out. I don't know.
Okay.
It's coming out, and then he had to announce it, sort of thing. Like,
okay.
He was trying to keep it from everybody, and it something got out, and he had to announce it and stuff before.
Well, Luke, and this is a question for you, just because you've played. Like, have you ever played or known of a coach leaving, and it kind of not necessarily affecting the atmosphere?
So when Mick Denny left, he was my coach when I first got there, and his staff, they went to Utah State. We had no idea. It was the day after the season was over. They obviously knew, because they were like, yep, we're leaving. And it was like, oh, what the hell? And not everybody left. A lot left. Germer stayed. Lance Robinson stayed. I think there was a couple others too. And then next thing you know, we know Joe Glenn's coming in with his people. Mm-hmm. And then Joe, of course, left for Wyoming at the end of the season. And that was, again, the next day. Oh, we're going to Wyoming. That's when Bobby came in. Okay. But again, we didn't know. I never had it where it was like in the middle of a playoff run or something. Okay. Now, North Dakota State has had that twice now. Bull announced before he was done. Kleiman announced before he was done, and they finished coaching. So they're kind of used to it. The one thing that I'd love to do is, though, kick their ass, and then they can use that as their excuse.
There you go. We'll give you the excuse.
Yeah, exactly.
Montana Hoops fan. Very good Furman front seven. You are missing players on left side. Very good. This is just him answering Putter's question. Sorry. But hey, very good Furman lateral speed, but they couldn't stop McDowell. 118 yards. Our backs got very little, but Furman backs got less. I think they got 15 yards total.
And Huff was like, his passing percentage was terrible.
Yeah.
For the big plays they got, I mean, they threw the ball like 47 times, and they had just minimal. Or it was
that's so crazy, because they do not want that. They're a running team too, so it's kind of crazy. This is our last question. Beware of the D. NDSU had a lot of big plays on Saturday. I know we are significantly better than USD, but does it concern you that we somehow are susceptible to big plays? Also, how long did it take for you to get to sleep after that game Friday? Holy hell, my heart needed some time to slow down. It took me a couple hours. I came home, had a beer, and then kind of watched something else that was kind of lighthearted. That wasn't something that was going to tear my heart out. And then it was hard to get to sleep. Early rising with kids, young kids, that it was a long day the next day. But I think that back last year, we were more susceptible to those big plays. I think that if you look at the neighbor game, right, they're very similar to NDSU, where they like to have those big plays, right? Not necessarily like with throwing the ball, but they can throw the neighbors can throw the ball. NDSU likes to throw the ball and get those big plays, but they also like to get those plays from running too. But they like to get their scoring from running, right? Well, you're not going to probably see, unless it's a long throw, them getting touchdowns from a pass.
Yeah.
It just is not what they do.
Much more yards after catch if they're getting long touchdown passes.
Yep. So, I don't think I honestly kind of agree with you, Luke, that I think it was just kind of a couple different things that kind of wound up having us not play as true to our what we wanted to do. Will there be big plays? Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be big plays. Yeah. But at the same time, is our defense knows that, and we bend and we don't break, and we change a 55-yard run, and we change it from being a touchdown to a field goal, and hey, we got a field goal out of it.
Yeah. I agree. It's more so like the big plays that have happened to us this year are just a couple mistakes, not doing your 111th. That's why they preset on defenses, do your 111th, make sure you're doing your assignment, because if you don't, that's when it breaks down.
Yeah.
For the most part, our defense is great at doing their assignments and stuff. That's why we do a good job at stuffing people. And so that's going to be a huge focus this week, especially with the two plays that's what happened is people there's a few guys didn't do their assignment, and so they busted big plays. And so our guys doing that is going to stop that this week, and I'm sure they're super focused on that to make sure. Answer your first part of the question, it was after 3 a.m. that I finally went to bed, and it was basically Furman people quit talking to me, and that's when I realized that it's like 5-something at their time. So, and I haven't maybe had a few beers too in me, and so I was up early the next day. I think I got like 3 hours of sleep, and like I said, I earned that headache that I had the next day, and it was totally worth it. But I couldn't sleep. I was so fired up between all the shit talking all week and everything else. I was excited to get on there and talk, and and was just fired up. Again, I was still kind of shaking after the game just from yelling and the intensity, and because I really think they can hear me through the TV. So
I know they can, right? They've got a radio right from us to their headset. So
bravo again for everybody that showed up at the stadium, because it looked loud, the crowd looked awesome, and then I loved again seeing after the game and winning in overtime, no one left. Everybody was there watching the guys cheer and sing the fight song, both sides, and I thought that was cool too. Maybe I'm wrong here. Was that the first time we've had the Zoo Crew sign in front of the student section? I've never noticed it before.
I don't think so.
You don't think that was the first time?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, it's the first time I noticed it. Maybe it's because the reporting, but that actually said Zoo Crew and had the big sign in front of them. Because usually I thought they had their own stuff. But anyways, they did great. That same kid that works for the Kaiman or whatever with the wig, with no shirt, painted up, he's in that same spot every game. That kid is committed. He's always on TV. Bravo to him. I mean, just the whole stadium just did awesome. And I really think we can limit the big plays, and I think we can win this game. It's gonna be
I think so too.
It's gonna be a battle. It's gonna be a battle to the end. I don't see us blowing them out by any means. It's gonna be back and forth, a damn fist fight. Two guys just punching each other in the mouth. It's like a Rocky movie, toe to toe, just throwing haymakers and see who's standing at the end. So, and I think the Grizz can be standing.
I do too. I can't wait. Guys, like we've mentioned already, make sure you get your tickets. If you have season tickets, get them still and sell them to Grizz fans so we can get 27,000 Grizz fans in there. I don't think it's going to be 27,000 Grizz fans. It might be like 25,000 to 2,000. But we want it maroon. We want it loud. We want to have that advantage, especially with these Bison coming to town. And hopefully we can win this one and go to Frisco.
Hell yeah, that would be awesome.
Guys, like we said, make sure you rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts at, guys. Also, you can get us on the YouTube at FCS Fans Nations Podcast Network. There's a lot of cool podcasts there as well. So check those out. But as well, if you guys want to get a hold of us, we love to get hearing from you guys. We love interacting. You guys can get us on Twitter at Fight on Montana and on Instagram. You can get us on our Facebook personal ones too at Adam Helian and Luke Rounds as well. But yeah, I can't wait for Saturday at 2:30, man.
Oh, it's gonna be freaking awesome, and oh yeah, I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Well, like always, guys, go Grizz.
Go Grizz and horns down.
That's right.